All right. Okay, I'm going to talk about my TBC ban. What happened was I got banned with practically 0 stuns and got permanently banned. I haven't gotten banned before. Phoenix is terrible at communicating anything to me. I'm sure a lot of the things I'm about to say she will probably have explanations for, but I was not given them, as she is, again, terrible at communicating anything to me. And in fact, she has given false information due to miscommunication to my friends and even her own moderators. And sometimes I think she just straight out lied. Now, what happened with my ban is that I was quote unquote trolling by telling people to talk in media chat over general. Phoenix considered this trolling. I wouldn't, but I respect her opinion. And what ended up happening was I said, okay, she gave me a verbal warning. I said, okay, but then I did it again. Now, I will admit this is completely my fault. I didn't really think it was that bad, but I will take responsibility for it. However, she gave me 10 stuns. I felt 5 stuns were more justified, but again, not much you can do about it. I voiced my opinions on this in general chat, I believe, and then I got permanently banned for causing chaos in the server, which I don't understand. And I got, from my point of view, I got effectively 50 stuns at once because there, like the 10 stuns wasn't really a warning if there was nothing in between receiving the 10 stuns in my ban. So that didn't make any sort of sense to me. I got effectively 50 stuns at once for doing minor things. Now, I tried to appeal. Now, my first appeal was to Hayden, I believe. All right, this person right here. Now, they were very unhelpful. I basically, to sum it all up, they gave me the reasons why I was banned. I gave them reasons why their reasons weren't true and were straight out lies or false. And then Hayden basically said, okay. And then after a day, Hayden told me appeal denied. That didn't give any counter reasons. That it had been as unhelpful as possible. You can see this for yourself. You can pause the video, but these were the reasons I was given. All right. Now, I rebound to each every reason. So I think p banning someone for getting someone. I think p banning somebody for getting 4 verbal warns is a little unfair, considering people have gotten 125 stuns in the past. Keep in mind, a verbal warn is considered less than a stun. All right, I don't know, a verbal warn I would consider maybe to be equal to 1 stun, or like, something around there. And people have gotten 120. I think no, people have gotten 160 stuns in the past, and purposefully, like they purposely broke rules to farm these stuns and have gotten up to 160, and they're not even P banned, or I think they are as of now. And no, I list her reasons: being toxic, putting down people, especially new members, caused by many members to leave the community. He would say they aren't allowed to have opinions. For an example, voting on polls because of being verified. This, again, is Phoenix completely taking out of context what I'm saying and uh, lying, straight up practically lying to other members. Now, what actually happened was I said that verifieds shouldn't vote in polls on game balancing, as I don't think they're skilled enough to have a considerable opinion. It would be better to have like a win roll, like you have to have 250 wins to vote on game balancing. I felt that would be more fair. Phoenix disagreed with this, and now it shows up on my ban reason for who knows what. Now, was I toxic to new people? Yes, I will admit I was toxic, but I never direct profanity. I never used any direct profanity. I never used any direct profanity. I never really went to that path. I'm more likely, the things I would say would be skill issue or get good. That was about as far as being toxic I was considered. And I got verbal warnings. And to give you a perspective, I never did it severe enough to get stuns. All right. The most severe thing I've ever done got me a verbal one. I've never been severely toxic to the point where I received a stun. All right. And I explained this. Then the next instance is trolling, intentionally causing chaos in the server. This is the first point I brought up. Telling people to post in media whenever someone talked in general, and instantaneous and intentionally annoying people, then saying that it was a joke. Now, I would agree with the first part. I did tell people to post in media, and I tell Hayden that I don't see how telling people to talk in media is trolling, and at no point was I intentionally annoying people. I did get verbal warnings from it, and I take full blame, but I don't see how this is bannable. I don't see how you can is justified on permanently banning me. Now, loopholing rules, saying stuff like I'll tell you skill issue, but I'm not allowed to anymore. I got verbally warned for this, and then I stopped after I got verbally warned, and then I don't understand how this is relevant. This is what I admit what I did was wrong. You verbally warned me for it, and I stopped. I don't see how it's an issue anymore. I don't see why this is even being taken into consideration. I mean, I stopped. I don't I don't understand how this could be used to justify a ban. Being asked multiple times in DMs to stop behavior and then doing them anyways. This isn't true. This is taken out of context. Yeah, all right. So being asked multiple times in DMs to stop behavior and continuing doing them anyways. I think I was only asked once. I may have been asked twice, but I severely doubt it. Don't quote me on it. But I am I strongly remember being asked only once in DMs. Now, acknowledging that he knew the rules and still saying that he shouldn't have been verbal warned, then stunned for rule breaking. I don't know exactly what Phoenix is referencing, as there's a lot of things, but I think she is referencing when I was complaining that I got stunned for being off topic in Tower Battles chat by Grape. Now, I disagreed with the stun. I thought it should have been a verbal warn. Now what happened was Grape verbal warned me for being off topic, and then I was off topic again. This was 8 hours apart, and I feel like me being off topic wasn't like a full drawn out conversation. It was just 2 words. All right, I feel like me being off topic, it wasn't like a long drawn out conversation. It was just me saying 2 words in Tower Battles chat, and I think that didn't deserve a full stun. I thought that deserved a verbal warn. Now, Grape agreed with me later on. Now, I probably could have gotten the stuns removed if I argued it, but I decided it wasn't worth the hassle. I did bring this up to Phoenix as a flaw in moderation, and I guess she felt this was a personal attack and said this. Again, Grape agreed with me. He agreed that I should have been verbally warned, then stunned. So I don't understand what the issue is here. All right. So, again, majority of my stuns were from off topic and copy paste. I really haven't gotten any stuns for being trolling. Toxic, I've only gotten, like, again, my point was majority of the stuns were being off topic and copy paste. And these things they don't get you stuns until moderators ask you to stop, and then you don't stop. So, you know, and then, yeah, so then I made the point of that I wouldn't really, yeah, this is another point. So, let's say 5 people were to post a copy paste. The moderator asks you to stop, and then people start talking, and then I post a copy paste. From the monitor's eyes, the moderator asked you to stop, and then you didn't stop. But from my eyes, I didn't see the moderator. I wasn't there in the chat when the moderator asked people to stop, and I thought this was a flaw in TBC moderation. I argued this, and now it's showing up on my ban reason, which again I don't think is fair. And this is literally where majority of my stuns came from, nowhere else. And they asked after the ban, he was asking people to cause disturbance in the server because he thinks it would be fun. Now for this one right here, I asked for proof, and I don't think. Yeah, I need some. I asked for context because I didn't know exactly what they were referring to, so I needed some context. I need some proof. Never gotten it. All right. So then I proceed to argue it. I gave you all the reasons, as you can see. I argue it, and then basically asked I wasn't included, and then went through some standard questionings. Are you disagreeing with everything? I do agree to getting the verbal warrants. Other than that, I disagree. Yes. Yeah, they asked me some questions. Post my document. That's it. Then they basically say appeal denied. No reasoning, no counterpoints, nothing. Just I made all my points and then appeal denied. And then Phoenix later said that my reasons weren't ignored. They were looked for, investigated, appeal denied, which doesn't make any sense, as I was never. From my point of view, I was never shown the investigation. I don't think they investigated it. I think they ignored it. All right, from purely my point of view, because again, they never provided any counterpoints. Now, I simply say I want to talk to Phoenix about it, right? And Hayden's like, you can talk to me about it. So I gave him some questions of like complete conflicts in logic, and I asked if they can ask. I asked Hayden if he can ask the questions, and Hayden basically says these questions have already been answered, which they have not. I mean, I don't. These questions have. I wrote this for the first time. These questions have never been answered before, and Hayden says these questions have already been answered. I ask him to answer it again, and no response for. And then this is a completely separate thing. So yeah, that's my first ban appeal. So then I try to communicate with Phoenix. I try to talk to her some more. Try and again, same response. These questions have already been answered. Then Phoenix says I can make as many appeals as I would like, I believe. So then I was like, okay, let me go to Zachary. Now, I just want to say props to Zachary. He actually responded to everything I said. Everything I mentioned on him, he responded to and reasoned with me, and he provided proof. So, props to him. But the issue is none of his responses made any sense, and his proof was incompetent, and like the dates were wrong. That's like the most basic things. The dates are wrong, and I don't even blame him for it because again, I just feel like Phoenix poorly communicated everything. Now I ask him about the appeal. He says appeal declined. So I provide proof of Phoenix saying I can have as many appeals. I'm welcome to try again. Um, then he asks for my Darth Void messages, and he gives his reasoning on why I was banned. Now, the thing that really pisses me off right here, that really makes my blood boil, is he says just because Top Troll has 179 stuns doesn't mean you get to stay there until you got 100 plus stuns. As I said earlier, we are too lenient and trying to change that. Now, this is reasonable. However, I got 0 stuns. This is giving me the impression he believed I had 100 stuns. He believed that I had 100 stuns and I should have gotten banned. Where in reality, I had basically 0 stuns. All right, you can argue I had 10, but I would argue that I really didn't even have a warning as to what I did because between me getting the stuns and me getting banned, there was nothing I did wrong. All right, so I don't see those 10 stuns as really valid, as I think I just got banned altogether. Now, again, this pisses me off because now he has the impression that I had 100 stuns. When in reality, I had 0 stuns at the time of my ban, and for all my ban reasons, as far as I'm concerned, I had 0 expired stuns on them. So I haven't gotten any past stuns on it. I haven't gotten any past stuns in it, and I was at 0, and then I got banned. And the fact he has the absolute audacity to say that I can't stay here until I get 100 plus stuns, it doesn't make any sense. He has the impression that that I have 100 plus stuns, and this just is a sign of pure bias, which I don't think is ever fair. Now I explain this to him, and he points out to my 10 stuns I got, and then I say this happened. I explained to him this happened when I was in school, and when I got back home, I was banned. I didn't do anything between those 2 time periods, and he says that I caused chaos in the server, and Phoenix started talking to Chiefs and to change the stun to a ban. So I tell him I disagree with him. I ask for proof, and we talk about time, so this is irrelevant. He says he'll look for the messages that I did. All right. He tries to look for the messages. So basically, what ended up happening was he provided me my ban and my stun and the time between those two. Right. So then I say that no message I sent between those 2 times broke rules. Right. So I considered them to be the same thing. I mean, I don't consider these 10 stuns to be a valid warning. Now, we talk about times. I say again, no messages sent between those times broke rules. He says he'll try to look for it. It may take a while. So I say, okay. Now, all right. So he proceeds to give me a completely irrelevant scenario where I believe, all right, I don't even understand. He poorly communicates this, but you got warned for this, I know you got warned for this, but you got verbally warned for this. I'm pretty sure there was a few more stuff, but the bot said bye-bye to it. All right, so I asked him for a time period between those 2 things where I sent a message and broke rules, and he basically says that the bot deleted it. And none of these messages are in between, none of these screenshots are in between those 2 time periods. So he basically claims that when I broke rules between those 2 time periods, the bot deleted it, and he has absolutely 0 proof that I'd done so. And another thing is no one else, there's no other witness. There weren't multiple people to see this. It was solely Phoenix that claims that I did this. There's no other witnesses. No one else said I did this. No one else saw that I was causing chaos in the server. It was only Phoenix who told us to other moderators, banned me, and got all the proof of what I did deleted. So no proof of what he's claiming. And then he provides 3 irrelevant screenshots. And then this kind of pisses me off. This saying kind of pisses me off, but this also kind of pisses me off because he says I got verbally warned for this, which doesn't make any sense as this is 1018. This is 1011. It doesn't. How can I get verbally warned for this? How is this the verbal warn for this? It's irrelevant. He's just trying to find something I did wrong. It doesn't make any sense. He orders them wrong. He doesn't get the dates right. He's giving me incompetent messages and claiming it as proof. It doesn't. I don't even understand what he's trying to say. I mean, I know it got you. I know it. You got warned for this, but you got verbally warned for this. I'm pretty sure. I don't. I don't understand that. But what actually happened is that there was a misunderstanding. I said he was trolling, and this was counted as toxicity, where I was being genuine, and we got cleared up. I talked to Phoenix about it respectfully. Okay, she was. I don't know. I didn't like how she was talking to me. I felt her tone was a bit like, off-putting. I didn't really appreciate it. I wasn't toxic. I didn't say anything about it. All right. Instead, I took it as a joke. All right. And I turned it into a copy paste. All right. And he claims that I didn't take the verbal warning seriously because I turned it into a copy paste, which doesn't make any sense as I've actually followed the verbal warning. I stopped any instances of me being toxic after 10/11. I was never toxic. I followed the verbal warning. I listened. And he tries to bring up, and now this is where this message should come into play, as he could claim that this is me being toxic after 10/11. However, he completely cuts out the context to this. This is, if I were to ask you who is I being toxic to, you could not give me an answer. This is I believe we're talking about I'll show you the context, but I believe we're talking about how slimes, how people can't defend slimes or something. And I'm agreeing that people are bad at the game if they can't defend it, or I'm not quite sure, I don't remember, but I'll put up the exact context. But the point is, I was never toxic here. All right. And it just pisses me off that he says that we think you didn't take the warning seriously, when if you actually judge me by my actions, I listened to the warning. Now, I'm using this screenshot the way it's supposed to be used and not how he tried to use it, which inherently doesn't make any sense to me. Next thing would probably be the fact that actually the only thing that could be considered toxic that I ever said between those two dates is calling Phoenix gay. Now, I think it is an obvious joke, as I don't actually think Phoenix likes woman. I mean, and she doesn't know about this. No moderator knows. I am the only one that knows about this, and I'm owning up to it. No moderator knows about this. I have not. No one has pointed this out. It is solely me who knows about it, and I am the one admitting this to you. All right. The moderators had no clue that this ever happened, because I didn't say this to Phoenix. I said this to a friend, and this was in TBC. Now, judge me as you want, but again, I'm owning up to this. No moderator has ever said anything about this. Now, I talk to him about this. I make all the reasonings. Um. Yeah. No. Nothing. Not. He just. This is irrelevant. Basically, no. Appeal denied. The second I point out all the conflictions and logic and the flaws, appeal denied. Gone forever. Doesn't exist. All right. I try to talk to him. He says nothing. And yeah, that's my situation. All right. Now, again, I don't view this as justified. This is the entire situation. I've talked to other moderators. They weren't really helpful. I mean, they couldn't be very helpful. So I don't blame them. But it's just the fact that this is going on, and I don't understand what to do anymore. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. And